Hello guys, it's so interesting to watch how Putin is looking for other people to blame for Russia's military and diplomatic failures. And right now, the favorite scapegoats in the Kremlin are Lavrov, the so-called Minister of the Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, and Gerasimov, the head of the Russian army. Both of them promised a lot to the supreme Kremlin goblin, but failed to deliver the minimum. Lavrov was responsible for the preparation of the meeting between Trump and Putin in Budapest, and Putin desperately needed this meeting. It could return him back to business economy with lots of countries, especially in the south, demonstrating that it is okay to invite a war criminal to the EU country to meet with the US president. That would be a great victory for Putin's diplomacy, but there is no such meeting in Budapest. By the way, Orban is also very disappointed because most likely he will lose the coming elections. And Gerasimov kept promising before the beginning of the so-called special military operation that they could take Ukraine in 3 days, then 3 weeks. And now, after 4 years of the full-scale war, 1 million lost Russian soldiers, they still did not manage to reach the borders of Donetsk and Luhansk regions. And no, they don't control Pokrovsk. Now that we have more Storm Shadow missiles, thank you so much, people of Britain, I think the Kremlin will feel even more desperate. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Putin, Gerasimov, Lavrov, and many more of other war criminals from Russia in The Hague, subscribe. I'm sure we'll discuss this trial on a channel sometime really soon. But right now, let's concentrate on these diplomatic military failures. We often talk about economy, oil refineries. Let's focus on something different because it is also a great problem for Putin. Number one, diplomacy. At the very beginning, Putin managed to trick Trump and the White House, promising something, then denying that something, but it all brought him a diplomatic victory with his visit to Alaska. Thank you, people, that you reacted, and even the White House realized that it was bad, because it gave Putin the success, the image he wanted, and it didn't give anything to the people of the United States, Europe, Ukraine, and so on. So this meeting in Budapest would be another victory for the Kremlin goblin. It could demonstrate that the international law is destroyed, organizations aren't working, and it's okay to be a war criminal. You are still invited to the EU country to meet with the US president. That's why inside Russia, the idea of this meeting was wildly advertised, and many people commented like, wow, that's a victory. People finally accept that Russia dictates its rules and so on. And Lavrov did not manage to achieve any agreement with Rubio, even for just Putin's trip to Budapest. Even if they did not decide anything, if no sanctions were lifted, if literally anything would be decided there, for Putin that would be great image victory, diplomatic victory, and the very chance disappeared extremely quickly. Later, they sent Dmitriev, who is the envoy of the Kremlin, and he didn't manage to meet anyone in the White House, and sanctions followed. And these sanctions are destroying Russian economy even faster. Combined with the Ukrainian drone sanctions, the Lukoil Rosneft is losing clients at a very high speed. Even those countries that were Russia's friends, like India, sometimes Turkey, in the sphere of oil, stopped buying because they don't want any negative consequences for their budget. So it's not the friendship with Russia, it was just a possibility to buy cheaper oil. But when you have to pay a lot for that cheaper oil, you stop doing that. Thumbs up. And now military failures. Okay, Russia keeps targeting our cities, Russia keeps destroying our hospitals, homes. That's a tragedy. But what did they manage to achieve? Ukraine is more militarized, people are united. Now, literally in every corner of the world, people know that Ukraine is not Russia. So we may say that Putin achieved the contrary of what he expected. And even in terms of realities on the ground, he failed to get what he promised to his population. But he actually invited war to dozens and dozens of Russian regions with explosions in St. Petersburg, in Moscow, in Sochi, and many more. But I've enumerated Putin's favorite cities. He does not control airspace, borders, air defense, budgets anymore. But Gerasimov, the head of the Russian army, promised they could take Ukraine in 3 days. Their soldiers took their holiday uniform with them because they believed it was possible. Okay, they failed. And then they often claim they need to reach the borders of Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Actually, these territories were partially occupied by the Kremlin since 2014, and the war began 11 years before. And after 1 million lost soldiers, after a lot of billions of dollars spent, after Russia's economy totally destroyed, after 40% of Russian oil industry erased with the Ukrainian drone sanctions, after more problems that have already amassed and will destroy the Russian Federation from inside, they did not manage to reach the borders of Donetsk and Luhansk region. They did not manage to achieve their minor task, tiny from the perspective of the resources they burned for it. What many Russian generals are talking about is the reports they receive from their soldiers who want money, who want to survive. They often say they have taken over a particular settlement, but they say it's a very Russian thing, in advance. So they think they can reach it in a month or two, but not to get some problems from the commanders. They report that they have already taken over this territory when they don't. And this creates more problems and more dangers for other soldiers who can move, for example, in a specific direction because they are confident Russians already control it. And then they are demilitarized by the Ukrainian soldiers who live in that settlement and know nothing about the reports of the Russian war criminal liars. These lies will destroy the Russian Federation. They deceived Putin, they deceived a lot of people in the Kremlin who believed in their own BS, who believed in their own propaganda that Ukraine is weak, that Ukraine will surrender, and so on and so forth. And right now we see that Russia is a paper tiger or a house of cards. Both metaphors work really well here. So Gerasimov started firing a lot of generals. We know that a lot of Shoigu's deputies were fired in 2024. Soon, perhaps Putin will be fired by the Russian oligarchs. And there is an interesting video on my new Anna Danilchuk channel that I connect here, which actually tells a lot about this growing dissatisfaction among Putin's mafia circle. And also I want to thank Great Britain for Storm Shadow missiles. We need them to defeat Russia. We need them to protect Ukrainian cities, especially during winter when the number of their attacks only grows, because Putin knows they cannot get the territory, they cannot get the people, so all they want is to destroy as much as possible. And with your support, with strong Ukraine, with strong allies, we can defeat them faster and thus save more people, more territories, more souls, and that's super important. Thank you so much. But this is also a very strong message and signal to those that still doubt whether to give us Taurus or Tomahawks people. I'm sure that during these 4 years of the full-scale war, 11 years of war, and Russia's violation of international law since minimum 2008 when they invaded Georgia, it's pretty obvious that we need to defeat this evil and that Ukraine obeys the rules, the restrictions, everything you tell us. We will not target anything illegal, but by destroying Russia's military arsenals, Russia's oil refineries, we destroy their war machine and we prevent more wars and conflicts inspired by Russia, always either funded or inspired by Russia from happening. That's the only working peace plan, and trust me, people in the world need that. Even people in Russia need that. Please share these videos to spread the truth, subscribe, also follow me on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord, and Anna Danilchuk channel. All the links in the description of this video, same as the link to our merch shop with lots of good items that work well as reminders, conversation starters about Ukraine, and turn you into our ambassadors. And thank you so much for buying me coffees. Now I drink a lot of warm teas because I still have my cold with me. Thank you for becoming patrons and sponsors of the channel and helping me work, feel more, and speak more about my beautiful, brave Ukraine that I'm sure will defeat this evil with your help and with your storm shadows, Taurus, tomahawks, and advice. United we stand. Slava Ukraini!